Hello and welcome back, Heritage Hawks. We are so excited for our students and staff to return. We can't wait to hear the joyful sounds of children on our grounds again. In order for us to ensure a safe return to school, we need to review a few safety procedures. In-person learning will look a lot different now. We ask you type questions in the chat that will be answered at the end of the presentation.
Greetings, Heritage community. I am elated to share our in-person hybrid model reopening plan. Today, we will be looking at learning models and schedules and safety and health protocols. Heritage follows the 4 W's to keep all employees and students safe. We wear a mask, watch our distance, wash our hands often, and wait it out at home if we are feeling ill. Students will be assigned either the AM or PM cohort schedule for in-person. It is imperative that students arrive during the arrival time on the schedule below and are picked up promptly at dismissal. Our in-person hybrid schedule for the AM Monday through Thursday for each respective grade level is as follows. Please note that asynchronous independent work will be assigned to all grade levels based on the required daily instructional minutes. Our in-person hybrid schedule is as follows. Please note that independent asynchronous work will be assigned prior to the student's arrival on campus at 11:30. Each respective grade level is as follows. Fridays will be distance learning schedules for all of our students in the in-person hybrid schedule as follows. Please note that on Fridays, students will continue to receive 155 minutes of live synchronous instruction through the distance learning platform. Our in-person hybrid learning will offer the following: an AM and PM cohort of students for 155 minutes each cohort, socially distanced classrooms. Parents, please note breakfast and lunch will not be served on campus. However, we will continue with our weekly meal distribution. Weekly meal distribution will be on Wednesday from 12:30 to 2. It is important to note that at this time, no visitors or volunteers are allowed on campus. The protocol for our school Ingress and Egress will be as follows. Students must wear a mask. Please allot a 15-minute arrival and dismissal window. Health screenings will be conducted for all students upon arrival. No family members are allowed on campus. They must remain in the vehicle. There will be designated entry gates by grade level spans. Students will be directed to go to their classrooms. Designated exit gates by grade level spans. Parents, guardians, please note there will be no before or after school supervision. Our classroom setup will maintain a 6-foot distance. Our desk will have plexiglass partitions. Every classroom will have hand sanitizers and soap. And air purifiers will run all day and will be placed on an 8-hour timer to ensure air filtration and purification. Our classroom procedures: 6-foot distance between students and staff, hand washing when entering and before leaving the classroom. Students, please bring your own water bottle from home as our water fountains are not accessible at this time. Students must have or use their own materials. Backpacks and personal belongings should be kept under the desk during instructional time. Every student will have a desk in a box while in the classroom for their own set of materials. It is imperative that everyone on campus wear a mask. Staff and students alike should always wear a mask. Thank you so much. We are beyond excited to start having our students back on campus. We cannot wait to see our Hawks. Welcome back, Hawks.
Thank you so much for your patience, for your flexibility, and above all, your grace as we experienced minor moments of technical difficulties. We appreciate you taking the time as we work through that technical glitch. At this point in time, our moderator, Ms. Shelley Deal, will read questions so that I may provide responses.
Mrs. Diaz-De Leon and Dr. Schnitz, we have one question at this time. Will they have recess? And if yes, who will be watching them so they stay 6 feet apart?
Thank you so much for that question. When our students return to the in-person hybrid model, there will be no recess. Students will be on campus for 155 minutes. However, the teacher may choose to take the students outdoors for a learning activity, but once again, it is upon teacher choice. But there will be no structured recess time for our students.
Mrs. Diaz-De Leon and Dr. Schnitzer, at this time, there are no other questions.
Parents, we also would like to let you know that tomorrow we will be posting a video with more detailed information of our in-person hybrid model. It will be live at 3 p.m. tomorrow. We ask that you view the video tomorrow as it will continue to address questions that you may have.
Mrs. Diaz-De Leon and Dr. Schnitzer, we do have more questions. The next question, how will DLIP work?
Thank you. That is an excellent question. Our students that are part of the dual language immersion program, dependent upon grade level. For our students in kindergarten through 2nd grade, they will be receiving English instruction through the distance learning platform on Friday. When they are here on campus Monday through Thursday for our kindergarten through 2nd grade students, they will only be receiving Spanish instruction with their teacher, and Friday they will be receiving English instruction through the distance learning platform. In grades 3 through 6, it will be dependent upon teachers. There are some grade level teams that have created block schedules. Students will receive Spanish instruction on Tuesday, Thursday, and there are other grade level teams where students will be receiving instruction in Spanish daily. Once again, it is dependent upon each grade level, and more information will be forthcoming when teachers are announced April 5th.
Mrs. Diaz-De Leon and Dr. Schnitzer, our next question, is TK the same schedule as Kinder?
Yes, TK will be the same schedule as Kinder, as it will be referencing 155 minutes in either AM or PM.
Mrs. Diaz de Leon and Dr. Schnitzer, our next question. I chose the AM schedule, but I would like to switch to PM. My concern is who will be sanitizing the class and bathrooms in between the AM and PM class.
Thank you so much for that question. It is an excellent question. Please know that our custodial staff will be working diligently in between cohorts and also as cohorts are live on campus, cleaning common areas such as restrooms. We have requested for a second custodian to be on campus as early as 9:30 a.m. to ensure that restrooms not only receive a daily cleaning once per day, but they will be cleaned anywhere between 3 to 4 times per day to ensure that they are sanitized and disinfected.
Our next question, can you walk your children to school, or is this strictly a vehicle drop-off scenario?
Excellent. Parents will have the option to either A, drive their children to school or walk their children to school. However, as you will view in the video tomorrow, if you choose to walk your child to school, there will be a designated drop-off cone where you will drop your child off, you will wave goodbye to your child, and then your child will proceed to the walk-up check-in station. Once again, because of strict protocols that we must have in place, parents will not be able to walk their child all the way onto the front of the campus.
Mrs. Diaz de Leon, the next question is, will someone show the kids where their classroom is?
Absolutely. For our youngest Hawks in TK through second grade, we will have hall monitors that will be directing students as to where their classroom is. And also for our older students, we will have directions as to what classroom they will be attending.
Our next question, Mrs. Diaz de Leon, is when do we find out if we get AM or PM and the teacher assigned?
Excellent. Yes, all rosters are currently being created. We are finalizing rosters, and rosters will be made public on April 5th by 5 p.m. So once again, rosters will be public April 5th, 5 p.m.
Mrs. Diaz de Leon, I believe you already answered this question, but someone is asking about walking your TK student to school. How will they find their classroom if they've never been on campus, and can parents walk them to the classroom?
Parents are not allowed to enter our gates. Therefore, we are going to have hall monitors in place that will be walking the children and directing the children to their respective classrooms. Outside of the classroom, students will be asked to social distance, and there will be markers on the ground indicating where they are to stand.
Our next question, will childcare be served lunch?
Students who are part of the DLSP program that is sponsored through our YMCA will continue to receive the services that they have been receiving. In this case, they are the only students that will receive a meal on campus. So if your child is currently participating in the DLSP program through the YMCA, then yes, their meal time will continue to be provided as it has been since October.
The next question, are children allowed to bring their own hand sanitizer?
Absolutely. We will have plenty of hand sanitizers available in the classroom, but if your child would like to bring their own hand sanitizer, please feel free to allow them to do so.
Mrs. Diaz de Leon, a parent asked, will there be YMCA program services available, obviously with limited space?
Yes, very limited space availability. We will be informing the public as soon as we know the allotted spaces that the YMCA program will be opening up to the community. At this point in time, our YMCA has been serving our community since October through the DLSP program, and right now they are currently filled to capacity, but if more spaces become available, it would be our pleasure to inform our community.
Mrs. Diaz de Leon, our next question is, on Friday distance learning, will they be combined together with the distance learning class or separate?
On Friday, all students will go to their respective teachers for distance learning. However, if the child is in each child is going to have their own homeroom teacher, so they will not be combined with the other homeroom students that are staying strictly with distance learning. So for example, if I am your child's in-person teacher Monday through Thursday, I will continue to be your child's distance learning teacher on Friday, with the exception of our dual immersion teachers who team together and may share students on Friday.
Our next question, will the back gate be open for student pickup and drop off?
The back gate will not be open at this time. All pickup and drop-offs will be through the front of the school because we have to ensure that students go through a health screening process daily, and also that before they are allowed onto campus, their temperature is checked every morning.
Mrs. Diaz de Leon, I believe you touched on this, but we do have a parent asking if there will be a designated area outside to pick up children that are walked to and from school.
Yes, there will be a designated area for all of our students at dismissal time.
Our next question is with regards to students that have an RSP. How will that work?
Students that are part of our RSP program will continue to receive their services through a virtual format through our RSP team of teachers and their assistants. Once again, RSP in-person services for the remainder of this school year will not take place in person, but RSP services will continue through a virtual distance learning format for all students.
Our next question is, how many students will be in a class or cohort?
We have been very diligent in ensuring that our classrooms will maintain a 6-foot distance for all students and staff members. At this point in time, we feel safe knowing that there will be 14 students in a classroom with 1 adult present for a total of 15 students per classroom, or 15 individuals per classroom.
Our next question is, are there any discussions of continuing the school year into the summer or any summer school options to help students catch up?
Thank you. At this point in time, there are no talks in regards to providing an extended learning opportunity for our students during the summer, but that doesn't mean that the district won't come to consensus and arrive at a resolution to provide those services. At this point in time, however, there is no extended summer school opportunity being offered for our students.
Mrs. Diaz de Leon, the next question is, how early can kids be dropped off and how late can they be picked up?
That is an excellent question. So as you know, students in our A cohort, their class instruction will begin at 8:10. However, we ask parents that they may begin to drop students off as early as 7:45, but not prior to that. So again, if your child is assigned the AM cohort, they may be dropped off 15 minutes before instruction. That would be 7:45, because the teachers will be welcoming students into the classroom between 8 and 8:10 prior to instruction commencing at 8:10. Now, if your child attends the PM cohort, they may be dropped off as early as 11:30. Is when we would begin the ingress procedure for the PM cohort.
Mrs. Diaz-De Leon, our next question is, are the staff on site vaccinated?
That is an excellent question. As we know, the district has provided multiple opportunities for staff members to become vaccinated. However, it is not mandated, but highly encouraged for all staff members to be vaccinated, whether they are on site or remain through distance learning.
Mrs. Diaz-De Leon, we continue to get many questions regarding if they've chosen AM or PM or distance learning and when they'll receive their schedules. Would you just be able to touch on that again?
Absolutely. Parents, we understand that all of you are extremely eager to learn what is going to transpire. We ask that you be patient with us as we are finalizing schedules and meeting with teachers in order to ensure balanced cohorts. We will be making rosters live on Monday, April 5th at 5 p.m. Once again, notification will be sent to parents Monday, April 5th by 5 p.m.
And to follow up with that, Mrs. Diaz-De Leon, we have questions regarding if they want to make changes to the preference they've already made.
You may email your child's teacher or you may email the office, but know that at this point in time we are finalizing schedules, and if you have a different preference from what you originally had, we may have to place you on a wait list before we're able to accommodate that preference.
Our next question, if your child has an aide, will the aide be there to assist to walk to class or be present during ingress and egress?
Yes, if your child is assigned a one-to-one aide, the aide will be in class with the child. Once again, the aide will not walk with the child to the classroom, but will join the child in the classroom once instruction begins at 8 a.m.
Our next question, Mrs. Diaz-De Leon, at the district meeting, they mentioned a card kids need to have for drop-off and pickup. Is Heritage having a type of card like this?
As you know, there are different procedures between our 46 sites. At this point in time, we do not have a card for district pickup, for district drop-off. What we are going to have is that as parents enter our loop, the health questionnaire will be there, and we are going to simply ask parents to give us a thumbs up if they have already screened their child at home and have deemed that it is safe for them to come to campus. What we will be doing every day is taking the temperature of children, but we will not be providing anyone with a placard at this time.
Our next question is, will adjustments be made over time for parents that are vaccinated if there is a need for a parent to get on campus?
At this point in time, we must obey by our district protocols and CDC guidelines, so we do not have permission to grant for parents or volunteers to enter our campus. That will be made public once the district announces that it is safe for parents or volunteers to return. But as an independent school site, we may not grant permission to any parent or any volunteer to enter our campus until the district has given us the green light, and it's a universal practice throughout the district.
Our next question, Mrs. Diaz-De Leon, is in regards to meal pickup being at a different time.
Yes, that is correct. Our meal distribution day is changing. We currently have meal distribution on Thursdays. Beginning the week of April 12th, which is when our students will return to campus, meal distribution will be moved to Wednesdays, and the time will be from 12:30 to 2 p.m.
Our next question, Mrs. Diaz-De Leon, if my child is participating in the YMCA program, can they bring their own lunch?
Yes, absolutely. If your child is participating in the YMCA program, they may continue to bring their own lunch, as some of them have chosen to do so.
The next question is in regards to keeping families together, if you're able to address that.
Yes, if we have siblings that are on campus, we are going to be keeping siblings together, whether they are together in the AM cohort or in the PM cohort, but know that siblings will be kept together in order to facilitate pick up and drop off for parents.
Our next question is, will students still get VAPA?
Yes, our students will continue to receive their visual and performing arts every other week as they have been doing so. They will continue to receive those services. In a virtual fashion, VAPA, like RSP, will continue through the distance learning platform and will be virtual. It will not be live.
Our next question asks, how will the leaving protocol work for TK and Kinder for students who walk? How do parents pick up their students?
So once again, at the end of dismissal time, all teachers will walk their students to a designated area on campus. We are further going to have a designated area for walkers. Walkers will be able to see if their parents have arrived and are standing behind the cone. As soon as we have confirmation, eye contact that parent and child are together, then we will go ahead and dismiss the child to walk towards their parents past the cone.
The next question is, what happens if a family has to quarantine? Would the student be able to connect to the distance learning group?
Yes, thank you. That is an excellent question. As you know, we are prepared to quarantine if need be, although it is our intention to continue with all safety protocols, but we know that at times there might be an outbreak of COVID. If it happens that there is an outbreak of COVID with your child's cohort cluster, then that cluster will be asked to quarantine for 14 days, and distance learning will continue as long as the child and teacher are able to continue with instruction, dependent upon their symptoms.
Mrs. Diaz-De Leon, a parent asked, if we received this Teams meeting notification regarding hybrid, does that mean our child will be doing the in-person hybrid program even though we chose to keep our child in distance learning?
No, this community meeting was presented through our school messenger, and our school messenger is sent to all of our 755 families. Therefore, just because you have received this school messenger with this link does not indicate that your child is enrolled in the in-person hybrid program.
The next question is, will the AM and PM students be sharing desks?
Yes, the AM and PM students will be sharing desks. In the video that we will present to our community tomorrow, you will notice how our custodians will be going in to thoroughly disinfect the classrooms between the AM and PM cohort. They will be using the Titan Flex sprayer that they're going to be disinfecting the classrooms with. That particular chemical that they're going to be using will remain on the desk or on common surface areas for 10 minutes prior to being wiped down.
Mrs. Diaz-De Leon, we have several questions regarding snacks and if children are allowed to bring personal snacks to class or if they get a snack break.
Once again, students will not be receiving any type of break unless the teacher structures an activity for the students to leave the realms of the classroom. It will just be 155 minutes of live synchronous instruction with the teacher with limited technology exposure during that time. There will not be time for breaks or for snacks.
Mrs. Diaz-De Leon, you touched on the RSP services. A parent is asking about speech. Will that also be virtual?
Yes, and any type of special education service that a child receives will continue through the distance learning platform.
We have a question regarding the GATE program. If there is one, would it be in person or distance learning?
Distance learning. If we do offer a GATE program, it will continue with distance learning. However, know that your child's teacher does continue with differentiation to provide your child with extension activities to challenge their intellectual abilities.
Our next question is in regards to bathrooms in the classroom for younger grades.
So the students that are in kindergarten will continue to access the restroom that is in the classroom. Every other student will be allotted an opportunity to use the restroom if they need to use the restrooms. What we are going to do to ensure that there is a limited number of students in the restroom is that as students exit their classroom, they're going to pick up a little magnet. That magnet will be placed at the entry door of the restroom. If the restroom indicates that there are 3 magnets already there by the door, we are going to ask the child to wait before entering the restroom. Once again, we will have adult supervision in the early days of this new practice for students in order to ensure that our restrooms are not an area where students are going to congregate or there is going to be more students than the number allotted of 3.
Mrs. Diaz de Leon, I have a parent asking about students in different grades. Do they have to go to 2 different areas for pickup after school?
What is going to happen is that, and the video will depict this a little bit more tomorrow, what is going to happen is that we are going to have 2 primary loops that we are going to be using for pickup and drop off. The loop that is by our Ymca is going to be the pickup and drop off loop for our TK through 2nd grade students, and then the main entrance loop is going to be the pickup and drop off loop for our 3rd through 6th grade students. Now, for example, if you have a student in kindergarten and a student in 4th grade, we obviously don't want you to have to go through the loop twice. So we will be able to work with the child and just come to consensus as to whether we want the older sibling to join the younger sibling or vice versa. But we will do that on an individual basis.
Mrs. Diaz de Leon, we have a question regarding when parents will learn about how the new school year will begin.
We are still awaiting for that decision as to what the new school year in July will look like. We have not received information just yet as to whether or not that new school year in July will depict an in-person hybrid model, whether it would depict a full return to school for students to return. It's just dependent on what transpires in July.
Mrs. Diaz de Leon, we have a question asking, could you go over the COVID testing protocol for if a student has symptoms?
I can address that if you'd like, since I just took the training. Mrs. Diaz de Leon. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. So when a student has symptoms that are COVID related, we will have a Bionex Now station where they will be tested for proteins that are part of the COVID disease. And so if that COVID test comes out positive for the AG test, then they will be in our rest station and will be asked to pick up, and then they will need to go take a COVID test. If the COVID test comes out negative, then they may return after symptoms have gone away.
Thank you so much, Dr. Schnitzer.
Our next question, will the district be offering tutoring for our students once they are back on campus to catch up?
At this point in time, with our in-person hybrid model, we are only going to be offering the 155 minutes for students to safely be on campus, whether they are in an AM cohort or PM cohort.
Our next question is in regards to if a child doesn't feel safe and would choose to opt back into distance learning, will they be able to change?
Yes, most definitely. But once again, parents, just remember that it is all going to be based upon space availability. As long as we have the availability to have a child return to the distance learning program instead of the in-person hybrid model, we would be more than happy to accommodate. But we just have to, once again, ensure the safety of all of our students and ensure that our classrooms are appropriately balanced.
Our next question asks, when do the kids start school? We got an email that said the first day is April 5th.
Students will return from their spring break April 5th, and they will continue in the distance learning model. Commencing April 12th is when we will begin the in-person hybrid model and also distance learning. So please, parents, know that April 5th, the students will continue, all students will continue with distance learning.
Our next question is, if we have kids in the same class, can they walk together to class?
Once again, we are going to continue to promote social distancing as long as the students are socially distant from one another and are walking in the same direction. That is not a problem whatsoever. We just have to ensure that physical distance protocols are followed at all times.
Our next question is in regards to the protocol for early student pickup or if the student needs to go home sick.
If a child is ill, then the child would be brought to the office, and if from the office, if it is deemed that the child needs to be picked up, then our health attendant clerk or our nurse would call the family in order to ensure that they come and pick up the child. At that point in time, then the parent would be directed to walk to the front of the office to ring our doorbell and to wait until the child is brought outside to you.
And to follow on with that, yes, DeLeon, if a student has a doctor's appointment and will be coming back to school, what is the procedure?
The procedure would remain the same as it has been, where our health attendant clerk will ask for proof that the child has been to their medical appointment in order to mark the child present for the duration of that day and not to incur an absence. Once again, parents know that if you are picking up your child early or your child has a medical appointment, then you will be walking up towards the office. You will be ringing a doorbell. At that point in time, our secretarial staff will go to the door, ask what it is that you need, and then we will be able to assist you from that point on.
Our next question is, will students still be having small group differentiated instruction during in-person learning?
Right now, because it is our responsibility to ensure that there is a 6-foot distance at all time between individuals on campus, it is going to be very difficult to afford students with small group instruction, especially because every child, when they are on campus, will have a plexiglass barrier situated at their desk. And in addition to that, the teacher will also have a plexiglass barrier. So it is not likely that small group instruction at a kidney table will take place because it would be very difficult to follow that 6-foot guidance.
The next question is, will the DASH program be offered?
Once again, we will go ahead and verify with our YMCA as to whether or not they will be offering the DASH program. And if they are offering, we will be communicating via school messengers.
Will teachers have face shields so students can see their faces to learn letter sounds and reading?
It is important for all of us to keep in mind that if we are on campus or close to campus, face masks are required. Face masks are required alike for students and for teachers. Therefore, all teachers on campus will be wearing a face mask. In addition to their face mask, if they would like to wear a shield, they may also wear a shield. But face masks are required for every individual that is close to campus or on campus.
Our next question is, if my child has allergies and requires an EpiPen, do we send with the child on first day of school?
That is an excellent question. What I ask that you do is that you go ahead and that you send us an email at this point in time, and then we will have our nurse make contact prior to the first day of school, which will be April 12th, so that you may drop off the EpiPen prior to the child's arrival on campus.
Mrs. Diaz-De Leon, we have questions again regarding the arrival time in the AM. Could you please clarify, they're asking if it's between 8 and 8:10 or between 7:45 and 8:10?
Arrival time, we are asking for parents to arrive as early as 7:45. And the reason we are asking for parents to do so is that pick up and drop off are going to be quite challenging, especially during the first few days as we learn these new procedures and as we welcome our students onto campus and have their temperature taken. Therefore, in order to ensure that the students are in class by 8:10, we are asking parents that if you are able to arrive as early as 7:45, then you go ahead and arrive at 7:45.
Our next question is, do the kids need to bring their school iPad?
At this point in time, we are asking students to not bring any type of device to campus, as when the teachers are going to be working with students, it is going to be limited technology exposure. We know that through distance learning platform, all of their learning has been virtual, and at this point in time, we just want learning to be live and for the teacher to be live with the child free of a technology device.
Our next question is, was the gate testing supposed to happen for third graders this year, and will testing occur at a later date?
Testing for GATE has not occurred this year. We are still waiting for the district to go ahead and to provide us with a directive as to whether or not it's going to occur later in the school year, as we have not been hosting students on campus or groups of students on campus.
Our next question is, if their child gets picked up by a daycare provider, is there anything different that they would have to do?
Once again, all we ask is that the daycare provider know that dismissal time, and then just abide by our egress procedures that will be depicted in the video that we will be posting live tomorrow by 5 p.m.
We have a parent asking if there will be a meet and greet opportunity with the new teacher prior to April 12th if they are assigned a different teacher for the hybrid model.
That is an excellent question, and that is something that we most definitely are able to consider. At this point in time, we do not have a meet and greet designated event that would take place. However, if we did have something like this take place, it would be done through a virtual setting. Students will not be allowed to enter campus until that first day of instruction, which will be Monday, April 12th.
Mrs. Diaz-De Leon, we have a parent asking if you can please repeat the information regarding the COVID procedures if they think that their child has COVID.
Yes, so if a student has symptoms that are COVID related, and this is the other important part, is that you have to give us permission to be able to test. Without your permission, we would simply have the student wait in a separate waiting area until you can come and pick them up. If you have given us permission, then we will go ahead and test using the BioNow COVID-19 AG test, which is a self-nasal swab test. So they would administer it themselves, and then we would take it and place it into the tester. And in 15 minutes, we would be able to determine if they have the proteins that are related to COVID. At that time, then we would phone call you and you would be able to come and pick up your child. If it came back negative, then they would return to class.
Thank you.
Our next question is, how soon will the district incorporate all the updates the CDC has made in terms of distancing and cleaning, as in the cleaning protocols we are using are outdated based on CDC stating that surface contamination is low to none?
Once again, we abide by our district protocols and procedures. At this point in time, the two products that have been made available for our custodial staff to clean and disinfect common areas are the Virex and also the Titan Flex Sprayer. And that is what our custodial staff has been trained to use and to dilute in a safe fashion in order to disinfect and clean classrooms and common areas properly. Again, I would like to thank everyone who took the time to join us today. We do understand that there are numerous questions. We hope that we have been able to respond to most of your questions. If you still have any type of question that you would like for either Dr. Schnitzer or I to respond to, please feel free to email us. And I would also like to encourage all parents who are going to have their children return to the in-person hybrid model to view the video that will be posted tomorrow at 5 p.m. Once again, thank you so much. We are excited to see our Hawks back on campus. We know that there is a great deal of apprehension and a great deal of questions. Please know that we are diligent and will do our very best to abide by every child, and we'll do our very best to answer each and every question that you may have, because we want you to know that your children will be safe here at school with us, and we can't wait to see them. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Have a great evening. Take care. Bye.